Hello everybody, this is In the Game Kaya doing my first video game review, Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, it depends which Sonic the Hedgehog am I talking about, because there are three different-ish versions depending, and they all go by the same name. Sonic the Hedgehog 1991, also known as Sonic 1, for the SEGA Genesis, is over 20 years old and the game that started it all. Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis for the Game Boy Advance is a port of Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and considered by many fans to be an absolutely horrible game. And then there's Sonic the Hedgehog, the 2006 version, which attempted to reboot the series and failed miserably and is critically crapped on. But today we'll be looking at the game that started it all, Sonic the Hedgehog 1991, Sonic the Hedgehog 1, whatever you want to call it. But I do have my brother with me today, here to offer his own opinions. Say hi.
What's up, everybody?
Now, I do think it may not be too consequential, but just to let you guys know, I grew up with Sonic in the Adventure era, and I love the Adventure era games. I continue to be a fan through the modern games, and I didn't get into the classics until just before Sonic 06 came out. So, my first exposure to Sonic was in the Adventure titles. It's the same with my brother. So, it's important to know that, even if you don't think it is, it's important to know that because depending on where you became a fan of Sonic and the series, it changes your views on the rest of the series. So, just keep that in mind. But without further ado, let's get into Sonic the Hedgehog 1. You know the plot, why don't you do this part?
Wow, what a story. Dr. Robotnik is trying to capture all of the animals and he's turning them into robots. And,
Sonic stops him.
oh yeah, Sonic stops him, that's right.
Oh, and he's looking for the Chaos Emeralds for
No
some reason.
For no obvious reason, yeah.
But, yeah, not a lot is explained. There's not a lot to go on. We just know
Well,
Eggman is the bad guy.
It was the good old days of platforming games.
Yeah.
There was no story, you just played the game.
Bad guy is bad, good guy is good, good guy beats bad guy. The end!
Yay, good guy!
But, so there's not a lot of story here. But honestly, this is a game made in the 90s. It's a platformer. It's the very first game in the series. It doesn't need a lot of story to start off with. Protagonist, antagonist, up, let's go. That's all we need. What really sets Sonic apart from the competition is the gameplay style, where most platforming characters accelerate really, really quickly. Sonic takes a while to get up to top speed, but his top speed is a little bit faster, and his gameplay is momentum and physics based instead of being run and jump.
Well, for the most part it is.
Yes, but
We'll get to that later.
let's go through first the graphics. I think you have to admit this game looks great.
It does. It looks awesome. For a game made in 1991, it stood out from the competition. Think of Mario's background.
Yeah.
Yep. And the parallax scrolling backgrounds definitely help too.
Yes, beautiful parallax scrolling. And the colors are vibrant, especially Green Hill Zone and Marble Zone look fantastic.
And again, that's partly because of the 16-bit system instead of the 8-bit system that the Genesis was.
Yes, at the time, Sega was competing with the NES, not the SNES. The Genesis came out 2 years before the SNES, if what Deadlocked said was true. I'm pretty sure it is. I trust MatPat. Anyways, now the sound. Unlike the graphics, the sound has not held up quite as well. Of course, there's still the iconic bada-ling of the ring.
And the iconic Green Hill Zone.
Oh, yes. And Marble Zone's theme is catchy. The boss themes, the two boss themes are catchy.
Now,
Final Zone and a typical boss theme.
After you get after the first two zones, Green Hill Zone and Marble Zone, the music starts to fall off in quality and catchiness.
Well, the music does just the same as the game. And you'll know what I mean by that as we now talk about the zones. Zone by zone, here we go. Green Hill Zone. 1-1. It introduces you to the game in a very good way. You can go slow or you can go fast. You get used to Sonic's physics. There's a lot of pieces to move fast and to really get you pumped up for the game.
It's a good way to, as you said, introduce the players to the new gameplay style. And because of that new gameplay style, that's what made Sonic so popular. He was so much different than the other platforming games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I put a video of Sonic, even Sonic 1, side by side with Mario, any Mario game, or Mega Man.
Yeah.
And you can see the difference. I mean, if I replaced Sonic with a gray block and was just, showing that, you'd still know it was a Sonic game because of the way the game played. Mm-hmm. It's impressive, and the physics are really good. They're solid. There are a couple of times when Sonic doesn't quite jump as high as you want him to, but these are highly excusable in extremely rare circumstances. They were still learning. Yeah. This is the first game, the very first time they had attempted to make a Sonic game. Yeah. And of course, when you're basically, I think Sonic almost created a subgenre of momentum platformers.
And now back to the zone. I like the way that the zone flows.
Yes, it has a very nice flow.
It flows very well, and it's very high speed. It's a lot of fun to play. But if we move on to Marble Zone,
it's let me illustrate it this way. You're driving down the road, right? You're on a highway. Speed limit says 55, but you're doing 60 because you don't care.
Everybody does 60
Everybody does 60 on the highway.
And
then you hit a school zone in the middle of town, and boom, 15. You have a split second to go from 60 to 15. Okay, so you slam on the brakes to hit 15. Now you're in Marble Zone.
Perfect example. Running along. Boom! You hit a wall, and you have to jump on some bricks.
And the bricks aren't flat to allow you to keep your speed. There's the same thing in Labyrinth Zone. The bricks are not flat. They're designed to break you up. Now, I'm sure that world record speedrunners could hop over these little gaps and jump over the blocks with no problems. I am not that person. The typical person playing this game does not do that. They can't do that. Their brain doesn't process that information fast enough for them to continue to move fast through a typically slow area. And there are a couple of speedrunning tricks, but sure, there's speedrunning tricks for everything.
Yeah. And back to Marble Zone, you got push this block, wait for this block to move across the lava, wait for this spiky thing hanging from the ceiling to get retracted back up before you can jump up.
And this zone is also the first time you come across, the spike traps made me think of it, this zone is the first time you come across cheese in this game. By cheese, I mean you get hit with stuff that you couldn't see coming, and you have literally no time to react to it. Those spike traps are oftentimes off the top of the screen, and if you don't know where they're at, you're gonna die. There is also at least 2 spots in Marble Zone over the course of the 3 acts where you're supposed to jump on the top of one of those dropping spike plates, run across the top to the other side, and jump up. However, they're really short chains, and if you don't know that, if you don't jump with momentum, if you just jump and try and walk along the top, you're gonna get smushed and die because it's that small of a chain. And you can't see the ceiling, you don't know it's that short. This is another case of cheesy death. Mm-hmm. Now the cheese is not always about deaths either, as we get into Spring Yard Zone. Now Spring Yard Zone is somewhere between Marble Zone and Green Hill Zone.
You have your fast bits, but you also have those places where you have to wait.
And essentially glorified elevator segments.
Oh, I hate those. Spring Yard is my least favorite zone in the game.
It's probably my second least favorite zone.
What's your least favorite? Labyrinth?
Labyrinth, yes.
That's my second least favorite.
I know I just beat the game. Have you ever beat the game?
I don't think I have.
Oh.
I've played all the zones thanks to Stage Select, but I have played all the zones, just not all together in one solid run, like you did just today.
Mm-hmm. And I actually played the game twice. If you guys think I'm being harsh on this now, I was livid yesterday after I got done playing it.
Especially that spike glitch. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, speaking of the spike glitch.
You have an example of that in your video, don't you?
Yes, I do. I'll show it right now.
Look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
It's beautiful.
That's beautiful.
You can't handle the beautificity of this. It's glorious.
See, what happens in later Sonic games is when Sonic gets hit, he gets invulnerable, turns invulnerable immediately after getting hit.
In this game, spikes damage you whether or not you're invulnerable unless you have an invincibility. So if you have a shield, your shield hits something, usually spikes, and you hit the spikes after that, you don't stand on top of them blinking, you get hit again immediately.
And because you don't turn invulnerable until after you land, you go...
Yeah. Shield gone, rings gone, death. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened in this Green Hill Zone video clip I'm showing here over and over and over again. I'm not actually looking at the video right now, I can't tell.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened too.
There is another thing, I played the game yesterday and I was livid. So before I did the review today, I thought, I should give this game another chance. Is it better if you know it? Because I beat it yesterday. So I played it again today, and yes, my opinion of it did improve. But this game is hard. I mean, I've played through and beat 100% both Sonic 3 and Knuckles and Sonic the Hedgehog 2 without using cheats. So I didn't abuse that at all. However, Sonic the Hedgehog 1 took me... I've been trying to beat this game for over 3 months. Trying fairly consistently. Every couple of weeks, pick it up, 3 or 4 playthroughs, die, give it up for a couple more weeks. The last couple of days, I think I put in 3 or 4 different playthroughs of this game, 2 of them successful, and the one that I'm showing you, I actually required 3 continues. The one I played just today, I didn't record, I only needed 1. So, improvement. But this game, the problem with the flow in this game, though, especially once we get to Labyrinth Zone. In Labyrinth Zone, you go from... It's similar as it was from Green Hill to Marble. You go back up to Spring Yard and farther down to Labyrinth Zone, as you now mosey through the cave underwater. You have an underwater timer. It's not all that bad in Labyrinth Zone, because there are bubbles everywhere for you to take a breath. Drowning for me in Labyrinth Zone is not a problem. Now granted, it keeps me moving, but drowning is not a problem. There are bubbles everywhere. Sometimes you have 2 or 3 spots on screen at the same time. Options. But Labyrinth Zone is a momentum vacuum. You can't move fast in Labyrinth Zone. You won't move fast? Oh, water. Sonic the Snail. Sonic refuses, when he's underwater, Sonic refuses to hit top speed and at most hits a New York Power Walker speed. Labyrinth Zone will hit you with stuff off screen too. Usually it's above or below you.
I can think of a prime example right here. I don't know if you have a video of it or not. You probably do. You're going along these platforms on the chain. You're going up and up and up, and then just off screen, it just barely comes into view right before you hit it, is these spikes.
I've seen them, and I'll show you guys the area he's talking about here. But I didn't actually hit those spikes because I knew they were there. See, several playthroughs benefit you.
Grinned sheepishly.
But this game punishes you for not having photographic memory. It's ridiculous. Now, I played through Mega Man 1 not too long ago even, I played through Mega Man 1 and beat it without using the select pause button glitch to hit an enemy multiple times. That's right, I beat the Yellow Devil without the pause screen glitch. And I love that game. I do not like Sonic 1. I will say that again right now. Word for word, it's appearing on screen right now. Check this out. I do not like Sonic 1! Exclamation mark. So, you guys know how I feel now. This game has no flow to it after you end Green Hill Zone. You get to Marble Zone, and suddenly it's more akin to Mario than it is to Sonic. And that irritates me, because the game would be better fit for Mario than for Sonic. Playing Sonic in a Mario level feels weird. You would know this if you ever played one of those Mario 64 ports to a Sonic engine. For instance, Bob-omb Battlefield in Sonic Generations. It doesn't matter. It's not built for that. It doesn't feel right. And Sonic the Hedgehog 1 does this over and over and over again until you hit Starlight Zone, which is the second favorite zone in the game, and it's incredibly tolerable. It's hard, but it is incredibly tolerable.
Can you guys tell he's getting worked up about this?
The reason Starlight Zone is tolerable and is even fun in a lot of spots, even though there's a lot of cheesy enemy placement like hallways full of these exploding bombs, is because it has speed and flow to it. There's hills, there's loops again. Oh, I forgot those existed. And yes, there are bottomless pits. There's those fans that are a little bit annoying, and the bombs.
There's the occasional cheap shot, like I remember today when you were playing. One of those little bomb things on the ceiling went off, and one of those little tiny red dots that hit you while you're on a platform, and you fell into a bottomless pit. That's a bit of cheese there.
Yes.
But that was the luckiest shot in its very short lifespan.
Yeah. Kamikaze bombs. But it's fun to play because there's momentum, there's speed, and there's still challenge in platforming.
Which is stuff you do not get in Marble Zone or Labyrinth Zone.
Or Spring Yard even.
Spring Yard even, yeah.
And another thing, the next zone is Scrap Brain Zone, which is infamous. A lot of people hate this zone. I don't mind it.
Well,
I hate Labyrinth Zone.
I have very not fond memories of starting. This is, I believe, where the term trolling a player started. Alright. You start the zone. Scrap Brain, Act 1.
To the right.
To the right.
To the right, to the right, to the right.
And you're running along, and trapdoor, you're dead. First time I hit that was my last life. I had no continues. I was so mad.
I want to know if you dodged that your very first playthrough, the very first time you came to Scrap Brain Zone, if you jumped over that pit, let me know. I want to see if there's a single person who did not fall in that pit. A single person.
And the thing is, years later, after not playing the game for a while, I forgot about it.
And I did it again recording it the other day, and I've been playing this game several times over for months. But the thing about Scrap Brain Zone is it doesn't have a lot of cheese in it. Believe it or not. It's not that bad.
It just trolls you with that first death pit.
It does, and it immediately sets you feeling bad about this zone, but it's actually not that bad. You can see what will kill you, and it comes on screen with more than enough time, typically, for you to respond. There are a few placements of enemies off screen that'll hit you, that will kill you, and of course it has Labyrinth Zone Act 4 tacked on to the end of it. But all in all, I don't mind Scrap Brain Zone, and I'd play Scrap Brain Zone 3 times over before I go back to Labyrinth Zone. I do not like Sonic 1 mostly because of Spring Yard and Labyrinth. Even though Spring Yard is a little bit faster, there are too many times when I've been going somewhat fast, even enjoying myself, and all of a sudden I hit a spike ball, I hit a spike trap, I hit a spring, and then I hit an enemy and I'm dead. All in a matter of a few seconds, it seems. You can't go fast in Sonic 1, except in Green Hill Zone, or if you're a world record speedrunner.
And there's only a handful of possible world record speedrunners out there.
This game does not have flow, it does not have rhythm, it does not have balance. It's not fun. And that's the problem with this game. The music is okay, the graphics are great, but the level design kills all fun and everything. The enemy placement is trolly, the spike glitch gets you again and again, and I haven't even talked about the special stages. The special stages are horrible. Time and time again, you go into a special stage, and after collecting the rings for a continue and finding the Chaos Emerald, you're chipping away at those stupid diamond blocks around the Chaos Emerald, and as you're falling away from the diamond blocks, getting ready to jump back up, you fall directly into a gold spot, and there is no way you cannot fall in there.
Okay, here's a question. Why is it called goal? This goal is not a goal. It's a trap. They're trying to trick you.
It should say fail.
It should say avoid like the plague. Do not enter.
Yeah.
Stop!
But getting all 6 Chaos Emeralds is extremely problematic. And yes, I said 6. For those of you who haven't played Sonic the Hedgehog, there are only 6 Chaos Emeralds, not the full 7. For whatever reason, the 7th one has not been birthed into existence yet. And Sonic cannot go supersonic because of it. This means that getting all 6 Chaos Emeralds, apart from giving you a very slightly different ending, is extremely pointless. It offers you a few bonus points. To me, the only reason to play the special stages
Continues.
is to hope that you get enough rings that you earn a continue. It smooths the difficulty just a little bit, and it makes the later stages much more tolerable. But this game is not fun, and I don't want to play it again. And that's a problem. Especially for a game like this that doesn't have a save feature. A game that you don't want to play again from start to finish, you're not going to go back and play. Now, if I had a Genesis and this was the only game that I had, I'd probably play it. I'd probably have completely different views on it. But I think my main problem with Sonic 1 is I played the classics backwards. Going from Sonic 3 and Knuckles to Sonic 2, while yes, being a step down, is tolerable. But going from Sonic 3 and Sonic 2 to Sonic 1 is aggravating. Thankfully, there's something to fix this. The iOS and Android remake by Taxman and Stealth is incredible. You're allowed to play as Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles in Sonic the Hedgehog 1. They've added in a couple of new areas in different zones that only Knuckles and Tails can get into to accompany their different play styles. The spike bug glitch has been fixed. The Caterkiller bug has been fixed, where if you roll into a Caterkiller, sometimes in the original Sonic 1 you would get hurt. They fixed that. And it's a lot better. Plus 1080p widescreen support. 60 FPS.
Without stretching it.
Without stretching.
And I'm trying to remember. I had a point I was going to make.
It has time trial mode and a save feature.
Yes, the save feature, and that widescreen doesn't stretch the image. It's actual extended borders widescreen. And
I think I already mentioned this, but there is a spin dash, and it makes the levels a lot better. Green Hill Zone, or Starlight Zone, I can't remember how many times I wanted to just spin dash because there was a slope or a loop I couldn't get up. Instead, I had to back up and get a running start. It felt so weird. And it feels so wrong for someone who's played Sonic 2 or Sonic 3. A lot of people really like this, but I just can't stand it. That having been said, it's time for a final thought. A lot of people in the Sonic fan base really like this game, and there are critics that have praised this game over and over and over again. It was a technological masterpiece when it came out and reshaped platforming slightly, at least. Sonic has become his own extremely iconic character because of this game. However, I do not like this game. It's not a common opinion, but I do not like this game. The graphics are good, the sound is decent, but the levels are not fun to play. And it doesn't matter how good a game looks or sounds if it's not fun. Sonic 06 would have been critically acclaimed if this was true. And it wasn't, because to a lot of people, Sonic 06 was not fun. That having been said, this game, out of 10, gets a 4.5 out of 10 from me. What about you?
I'd probably give it 5.
5 out of 10?
Yeah. Out of the 5 different levels of meh, it's a meh. Halfway there.
Yeah. We have our own 5 levels of meh. We have meh.
That's the lowest.
Meh. 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 So now you know the 5 different levels of meh.
Or meh, or meh. Yeah, meh, and meh.
Because it's not just good enough to be mediocre. There have to be 5 stages of mediocre. But all in all, that gives it a 9.5 out of 20. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if I disappointed you. But don't worry. There's still one other game in the Classic series that's way worse than this one. We'll get to that eventually. I'll leave you to decide what that is.
I know what it is already.
That having been said, thank you guys for watching. Have a good day.
See you next time.